Italiano pizza margarita parmigiano, tomato, muy fantastico. Sorry, I was just dreaming about tomato from Colombian exchange that was used to make pizza. Anyway, I believe we do not need any conversation about getting rid of the Columbus Day. Columbus Day is not just about Christopher, but it's about the immigrants that came from Europe.
No. Colonization, murder, slavery cannot be justified. Our behavior toward Columbus Day should also change.
You're basically being a racist by discriminating Italianos while you're agreeing upon cannibalistic idea that Native Americans had.
Yes. Founding father is not subject of praising. It's just.
So, honorable judge, we celebrate Independence Day to celebrate and admire founding fathers. And by them saying, even though George Washington used 376 they agreed upon that they agree with having an Independence Day. Columbus Day is not just about Columbus, but it's also about immigrants that came from Europe. And I believe that Columbus was a great leader, even though he killed a lot of people. And had slaves. Slave was not a taboo in this time period.
Do you recognize that many of Columbus' very own white man, was devastated at his cruel actions and actually was planning to throw a riot over him, and there was records of criticizing him.
First of all, as it started, it was the day to excuse. It is an excuse day for the murder of the Italians. The Italians murder. The Americans murdering Italians for no reasons, because they just wanted to prosecute them from their land.
Some people argue that Columbus is a greedy, violent person who stole the land from Native Americans, so therefore we should not celebrate it. However, the statement that he's the one who stole the land from the Native Americans is truly false statement, doesn't make any sense, because it's because not only Columbus but also many Europeans were just adapting to the stolen lands culture which Native Americans were already having in their lands.
We can still celebrate the day of Columbus, but we should change the name. But really, to think about how should we name it, the only thing I just can remember about the landing of Columbus is Columbus, because Columbus is a very important figure of both American development, and then because of him, the basics of the whole world, the USA, has been born from that.
We cannot define him as just a murderer, because at the same time he saved a lot of lives by creating the new basic supplies. So we should remember Columbus as a great commercialist.
You had to break some eggs. And this works well with Columbus. I believe that Columbus had to make great sacrifices to make great changes in the world, between the old and the new. And I would forgive Columbus for all his slaughtering and all his introductions that led way to thousands of dying. I would forgive this if he could make a good omelet, which he can't.
Do you guys know my most favorite J&J menu of all time? Tomato pasta with French fries. Do you guys enjoy it? I love it, and it's credit to Columbus for that. But I'm not supporting him just because of tomato pasta with French fries, or his exchange that caused the huge cultural division between two continents. I'm defending him because he was a pioneer and the trigger of the great U.S. history.
We should celebrate Columbus Day? I believe so. Columbus created a bridge between old and new world. Old world that has traded with Middle East, that has changed to somewhere more broad like America and India or etc. It was a revolution. They made new trade routes to travel more comfortably and fast. Hence, they could develop more.
You can now ask questions to the defense. Please keep the questions on the short side, and the defense, please try to rotate your answers, or try to rotate who answers.
The arrival of Columbus, that he altered the sort of first-hand documents to make it seem like he's the bad guy. All right. But how about I have an actual source from a Spanish priest named Bartolome Las Casas, the protector of the Indians, and a cool guy, you know him. But essentially, he says, who in the future generations will believe what happened here? He says that he knew it best, and that he knows what's happening, and he can barely believe himself. So, do you believe that he's someone who has been sort of his documents manipulated, or do you think that's the truth he said? No, they're enchained. How can you call that development while someone prospers while others fail? Is that development? But for sorry.
But still, you celebrate Christmas as a national holiday rather than going against it. So there's no problem with celebrating Christmas here, right? Then why is the problem to celebrate Columbus Day?
Indian exchange. And by this trade, we got horses, pigs, apple, watermelons, rice, sugars, etc. And without horses, there was no way to move efficiently, extending trade routes, creating new jobs, and new style of warfare.
I think you're missing the point, the audiences, because every single historic achievement, every single historic milestone, always followed by a sacrifice. And Christopher Columbus' discovery of the New World is no exception.
My power.
What is she watching?
She's working.
Okay. Thank you.
This. Oh, wait. Time. No. Timer stop. Start again.
Timer's going.
This ain't America. This is Caribbean. And he thought it's India. This is America. We celebrate Columbus, even though it's meaningless. This is America. Columbus is a murderer. And we celebrate murderer. Hey, this is America. Yeah, America. What a great country. However, it has short history compared to other countries. You know why? They were discovered late. Wait. Let me take it back. It was conquered late.
Do you hear Indians sing the song of angry men? This is the music of the people who've now be slaves again. Can you hear this song? This is the music from angry Indians. Okay, let's be clear. Columbus is not a hero, and he doesn't deserve the celebration for entire world. So the only legacy they receive from Columbus is the idea of colonialism and genocide.
The societies are always trying to find issues that give a negative perspective about the target, because negative or tragic issues can attract people more than any positive event.
I was able to discover a land that has not been discovered even before me. And of course you would say, Mr. Columbus, what about Leif Erikson? Well, this is when we have to define discovery in a proper way. Discovery and finding is definitely different. Finding is when you find it alone and you don't share with other people. Let's say Ibra went on a journey to find Atlantis, and he died in Atlantis. Who is there to share the knowledge of Atlantis? No one, right? Leif Erikson was not able to maintain the settlements and the establishments that were on America, and he was not able to do what I did, to make America into a 21st century Mecca with new ideas, new technology, and new people.
Hello, say hello. Say hello. I can see your mogong. Say hello.
Question one after another. We'll see how many.
So in America, days for Washington and Jefferson are still celebrated because they are the founding fathers of U.S. And this is celebrated despite the fact that Washington and Jefferson possessed slaves, and this is actually fact, and it was told by many presidents. It is a true fact that they hold slaves. Then why can't Columbus Day be celebrated for Columbus settling down in America and allowing Columbian exchange to take place if others are still celebrated even though they possess slaves?
If you think about the Christopher Columbus's voyages as utilitarianism, Columbus have benefited the greater good. More people
more people. His voyage started capitalism and development of the U.S. and the abundance of labor. Then shouldn't Columbus be celebrated for opening the new world for us? Why or why not?
According to Columbus's provisions, and it says Columbus is appointed as the father of a new colony, and these duties are passed on to new descendants. And also, in his log, there's hundreds of references to gold and treasure in a 10 days period, which means not just finding a new word and develop it. His goal was also get a self.
That day is not named after Columbus, but just celebrates the discovery of America.
Yeah, you feel that's just like clearly the discovery of America, but not the process of the discovery of America.
The celebrating the discovery of the America, that can be a good thing. We should maintain that. But the name of Columbus Day, that will be the bad thing. We should trash that. So
celebrate for honor, remember for reasons. Columbus Day isn't just a meaningless day for the world. It's to commemorate the beginning of U.S. history. Raised up the country where no civilization exists, Columbus had contributed his whole life on developing the America. We, the family of society, are still getting opportunities to bring several food resources from America. This wouldn't be able if Columbus' contribution was made from Europe to America.
Yes, Columbus made some serious mistakes to the Native Americans. However, if it wasn't him, who would have done like this? The day that Columbus found America should be the start point of American history. Do you want to live in the country that you do not know the history about? Definitely no, right? Therefore, you should be thankful to Columbus and remember him as the fundamental of America.
Yeah.
Okay, celebrating a day which is originated by a guy who even isn't a real American. Isn't that nonsense? Hello, honorable judge and opponents. We are here to represent and explain why shouldn't people celebrate Columbus Day as a holiday.
A guy who is not modern people would consider him as a pervert or a maniac. In his journal that was being found, he described his psychological feelings during his first encounter with the Native Americans. In a nutshell, he wrote that the natives didn't really have any weapons, and they were willing to trade anything they owned with them, with the Europeans.
Let me tell you the truth about him. First of all, he started the slave trade in many ways. He used them to find the gold, sex slaves, and even he used the slaves as a food.
Try to find something not affected by Columbus. He was a pioneer, and he built the basis of American nations. Try to think of today without Columbus. It does not matter if he is a good man in terms of personality or his achievements. We should not celebrate Columbus Day because Columbus was a bad man. What you're looking into Columbus Day is his achievements, not his personalities or his wrongdoings. We're celebrating this in order to celebrate his achievements and his spirit as pioneer, not his wrongdoings.
Nonetheless, most of the people doesn't have the courage and braveness to start off something that big. And especially when it comes to sailing.
Before I want to join my speech, I would like everybody to close your eyes and imagine. In your imagination, you're a 40 years old man who has dreams and ambitions for making the better conditions for family, and you left your country and you asked for the support and you try the risk for trade and to go to the other to sail to other country by sea and to explore the new world, which is called America today.
To ask question, I want to kind of refine the meaning of this legal holiday. So, this Columbus Day is legal holiday commemorating the discovery of the New World by the Christopher Columbus in 1492. However, let me ask, why would you guys really celebrate the original land of Native Americans for an Italian guy named Christopher Columbus, who even isn't the first guy to find the land? The main purpose of this celebration.
We shouldn't focus on the fact that he was Spanish. We need to focus on the settlements and what he have done for me.
I believe that this court is not about criticizing Columbus as a personal individual. However, we're here to discuss about the Columbus Day itself. And if I have to choose, I would like to not compare these two things. These two things cannot be compared to each other.
Celebrate Columbus Day for the discovery of the new land. But then, what makes Columbus so special for this discovery? Think about it this way. In Columbus's
So Columbus Day is designated as a holiday to celebrate the landing of Christopher Columbus in America. It is true that Columbus was the first European to land at America.
As an explorer, the fact that Columbus discovered something should be taken into account when determining whether he was good or bad. So not for convincing an idea, but to turning an idea into reality, although there were others who were passionate about explorations and discovering the mapping the world, their ideas never materialized.
Guys, you guys like to take day off at October 8th, right? From work or at school, right? Columbus Day will able to make you chill just one more day. Not all holidays that celebrated around the world can satisfy everyone. However, each holiday has its own reason and purpose to be celebrated.
Columbus Day is not a day to celebrate Christopher Columbus' accomplishments, including genocide commitment and excessive greed. This is a day to celebrate the discovery and evolution of this great country called America.
people like the day off, and that's why some people celebrate Columbus Day. So then, if according to that logic, then if we can celebrate anything, right? Literally anything, such as like Apple Day, because it created a new era of IT. So what makes then what will make it so special?
Andrew's statement in the opening speech, he said like we are celebrating Columbus Day about his like how he contributed to make a better land, but in the beginning you said that we're not celebrating for the murder or slavery. So the question is, if you're celebrating for the benefits that he gave us, but we're still calling it Columbus Day, it means that we're celebrating all of his legacies, such as murder and slavery.
I believe that pre-Columbus, like America, were also like might have been in a disaster. They might have a battle or war or torture or slavery, but so like Columbus intervention might be a solution for them to escape their like internal problems.
And then on the left we have the defense. We start with the prosecution, opening speeches, 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, 6 to 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And then 6 to 7 minutes. When you are ready, please go. That's about it. When you have about 30 seconds, has not been an issue so far. Probably will not be.
Christopher Columbus, the greatest explorer in history who has discovered America, aka New World. Oh my god, seriously? Even though his plan to reach India had been rejected for multiple times, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain eventually patronized him. Everybody knows the fact, and his tenacity was certainly amazing, right? That greedy guy, in his later life, was punished due to his brutal tyranny in the colony by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, who sincerely had trusted him. He was stripped of his governorship. He was abandoned by everyone.
Yes, Columbus is an explorer, but is he a great explorer that needs to be celebrated in the United States? It's a clear no. Christopher Columbus, in a few words, was a terrible person. Of course, he made the Columbus Exchange, which benefited both European and Americans. New food sources and animals introduced to make their life easier and comfortable. But still, we should keep in mind about what he did to those Native Americans.
To conclude what my peers have said, Christopher Columbus, in a few simple words, was a terrible person. Why do you think he was rejected by the people at his own time? Because he was a sucky person back then. He's a terrible person now. Why should we celebrate this person whose actions, even now, in this modern age, 500 years after he landed somewhere near the Americas, his actions still have a negative effect on the people of America today. So why should we celebrate a person?
Opening statements of the defense. When you're ready, you have the floor, 6 to 7 minutes.
Land of Utopia before Christopher Columbus arrived. Native American shares and gathers meats and berries they got lauding and treating each other with full of love and living happily together. Land of Utopia really is not a fairy tale. People are brutal, violent, and cruel. 1 out of 3 men died from homicide. Sacrifice and cannibalism were usual. Above slavery existed.
language, Hollywood, peace, Starbucks, Google. Okay, so without the voyage and the discovery of Columbus, America wouldn't have even existed in the status quo. One should never doubt about Columbus's achievement. And speaking of not only America, he was a pioneer to open the trade route to build upon the Western civilization and massacre of Native Americans. Why are people only looking at the negatives?
This is America. Hey, Columbus developed and Columbus holiday. Look my side, celebrate. So
Keep the questions reasonably concise and make sure questions are questions, not statements. Please make sure questions are questions and not statements. And the same goes with those who answer. Please make sure your answers are answers and not questions back to those who just asked you questions. So without further ado, prosecution, you may now begin the examination of
The person who first discovered America, but there were plenty of other countries that went and colonized it. For example, the current United States of America was founded not by the Spanish, but by the English. So my question is, where does your point stand that Christopher Columbus allowed for the foundation of the United States?
Okay. To briefly restate my point, first of all, Columbus wasn't a talented explorer as he made an accurate calculation and nearly killed all of his crew. Second, his demand of wealth and position was ridiculous compared to other travelers during the time. Finally, he was stripped of his governorship due to brutal tyranny in the colony. Why do you guys consider Christopher Columbus good? Because he has spread New European cultures and religion like Christianity to uncivilized America?
Why should you celebrate him when he never reached the land that we are right now living? So, it's not important when you celebrate a person who found the land. It's important when you celebrate a person who started and built the country itself. And many Americans value George Washington more than Christopher Columbus. Only few states out of 50 states are celebrating Columbus Day, and the amount is decreasing rapidly.
Even though Columbus opened the trade route by Columbian exchange, trading various living things and cultures, we cannot title him only in the positive way. And Native Americans treated Columbus and his crew with hospitality, but Columbus's actions were inhumane.
finish off 5-6 minutes. It should take about 25 minutes, so we're right on target. We'll probably finish up around 2. As you know, this class is 2:05. Without further ado, Jason, you have the floor.
Should not be forgiven because of so the achievement of Columbus should not be forgiven because of Columbus' brutality actions.
Americans are not everyone were dead because of Columbus, but I think Columbus's influence was huge by bringing diseases and killing for gold and something like that.
So do you think that Columbus' activity in America should be forgiven by that achievement Columbus did?
Actually, murdering can't be forgiven with anything. So Columbus did murdering, and it is obviously wrong thing. But this court is for Columbus Day, not for Columbus. And in the Columbus Day, we have to celebrate not Columbus. We have to celebrate achievement of.
I would like to start off with very famous but somewhat cliche quotes. There is no future for the one who had forgotten their history. And people who are sitting across from me, sorry, but you guys have no future because you have forgotten the history. By celebrating the Columbus Day, you are beautifying the dirty history, being careless and ignorant of thousands of Native Americans and other victims. It's painful history. Christopher Columbus didn't discover the America, but invaded the land that people already existed at the time of his arrival.
We will celebrate. Okay, so picture this in your mind. What happened if there were no pizza, where it is round shaped with tomato and cheese and more? What happened if there were no French fries, where it is crispy on the outside, soft on the sides, and salty and contains a potato? And what happened if there were no coffee, which Mr. Daly refers them as a magic drink? Unimaginable, right? And also, not only the food were shared across during the Columbian exchange, the cultures and ideas were shared, like introducing a new farming skill to the Native Americans.
So, Columbus is one of the most famous people in almost everyone's history and knowledge, so that might be the reason why we celebrate him. However, you've got to realize that he's only famous for his decimations, his tyrant governing, and initiating the plantation slavery, which became a huge issue later on.
Christopher Columbus, isn't he the only one who discovered America? And who you are celebrating? Yes, he is the one we have to celebrate. No other explorers, only him. When Christopher Columbus pops in your head, the majority of people think that we should not celebrate his day because he was American.
Columbus Day is by his uncountable numbers of great achievements and legacies done by Columbus. Although some people argue that Columbus is not the technical one to discover the New World, the fact that he was the first one to settle in the New World, constructing a bridge between the New World and the Old World, is undeniable.